Alright guys, so in honor of it being Valentine's Day today, I wanted to go ahead and rank a few Valentine's Day themed slasher movies that I watched recently. There's only 4 of them, and the first one I had seen before, but I still thought it'd be fun to rank them. So let's jump into it. Coming in at number 4, we have Hard Eyes. You guys may know that I wasn't like the biggest fan of this movie, but I still thought it was a decent time. The concept of a serial killer hunting down couples on Valentine's Day is a great one. But the biggest issue I had with this movie is that I think the rom-com tone and the slasher tone didn't necessarily mix too well. It honestly kind of felt like it leaned more into the rom-com side of things. It's definitely more of a rom-com overall, but I do think the Hard Eyes killer was really cool, and I thought the kills were a lot of fun. They were nice and gory. But ultimately for me, I just felt like this one lacked that punch that it needed. It's still a decent time though, and I could probably see myself coming back to it eventually. Coming in at number 3, we have Valentine. This was a first time watch for me, and although I had issues with it overall, I still thought it was pretty fun. Don't think it's perfect by any means, and I think its biggest downfalls are the fact that the characters aren't super memorable and the kills were severely cut down. But otherwise, I think the Cupid killer is cool. The overall premise was interesting, but the thing that really made me like this movie was the way that the killer was revealed at the end. I thought it was just executed super well. But I do think the rest of the movie probably could have been a little stronger. And I'm honestly surprised that there hasn't been a remake yet, because I feel like there's a lot to play with here that could be improved upon. I don't absolutely love this movie, but I still think it's a pretty solid time, and I'm really eager to revisit it to see if I enjoy it more. At number 2, we have the My Bloody Valentine remake. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, what the hell, what is this doing so high up on your list? But honestly, I thought it was fun. Is it perfect? No. Is it very 2000s? Yes. But I personally have a big soft spot for 2000s horror, and although the 3D effects in this don't necessarily hold up super well, the kills are still really fun, and I honestly thought the story was fairly engaging for what it was. And even though the ending isn't super interesting, I still appreciated the fact that it tried doing something a little different. And as a Final Destination fan, Kerr Smith, who played Carter in the first Final Destination movies, in this, and I was just happy to see him because I had no idea he was in it. I will say though, this movie has a lot of unnecessary nudity. What was up with that? If you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. That entire scene, not needed. But anyway, yeah, overall I thought this was fun. It obviously doesn't touch the original, nothing ever could, but I still thought it was a fun time. But speaking of the original, we have the original My Bloody Valentine at number 1. A buddy of mine introduced me to this movie for the first time last year, and I went into it with like zero expectations, and I was surprised by how much I ended up loving it. Something about 80s slashers just hits different, and if you've never seen this movie, I highly recommend watching the uncut version because that's the only version that I've seen. I guess when it came out, they originally cut out a lot of the gore. That's all put back in the uncut version. And the gore in this movie for 1981 standards was fucking crazy, and they still hold up pretty well. I mean, the laundromat scene, come on. The characters in this are all really good. I actually think they're pretty likable to the point where I really felt bad that they were getting killed, which doesn't happen very often. I also just love the concept of the miner being the slasher villain. It's very simple, but it's very iconic at the same time. When I first watched this, I was not expecting how haunting that ending would be for me. The way that this movie ends, again, it's very simple, but for some reason it really stuck with me. It honestly just kind of gave me the creeps. It's really surprising that this didn't get a sequel. But yeah, it's a classic for a reason. It's super good, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, there you guys have it. Definitely let me know what your guys' favorite Valentine's Day slasher is, and let me know if you agree with my ranking. And of course, happy Valentine's Day.